surprised to see that other people have taken this as an opportunity to leave. Earlier, when I announced that we would not hesitate to consult with ourselves for a moment, I asked that people respect that by remaining quiet and orderly. In the future, I suppose I'll be asking if people respect that by not leaving the room.
Isaac, I'm going to try.
Yeah. Okay. So Nicole's gone out front. Tiffany and Greg have both gone downstairs. We had an interesting talk. We agreed that if a facilitation team member is going to step down to engage in the conversation, that they should not be able to come back up onto the facilitation team, and that in fact this is precedent in our process. It just has not been enforced at all, or very much. And that it's...
Bless you, William.
It's been called to attention to be enforced tonight, considering. So, Chris, you've decided to hold the question and remain on the facilitation team. He trusts y'all. I think it's important sometimes to remember that facilitation isn't very fun, and we're facilitating because we love all of you and want you to have a fair and respectful conversation with each other. There's a point of information in the back. You can't speak for the group. Yeah.
I just want to say, as Tech, everyone has been doing a very good job about working on this issue in a very nice, calm manner, and I just want to just tell you all you're doing wonderful, and I love you, and carry on.
Are we... Sorry, there's a clarifying question over here.
Can I give props to the facilitation team?
Yeah. Isn't that right? We're going to consult for a minute. Clarifying question from Claire.
I want to know how many people are on this affinity group. Who are they, and how often have they met?
Well, that sounds like a.
Three direct questions.
I was gonna wait till we officially reconvene to take those types of clarifying questions.
They left a little bit. We didn't call them.
Cool. All right. So, what would you like to respond to?
To respond to that, Alan has already been in the Infinity Group to deal with after Dorsey's expulsion last Sunday from the general assembly for that night. The Infinity Group to discuss those issues. This would probably be an expansion, I assume, of that initially thought about Infinity Group. But nothing's been set in stone on it. Currently, there's an unknown members. It's all open. Nothing's been planned. Nothing's been decided yet. Open to, if you want to discuss this further, discuss ways we can incorporate it.
Okay.
My question wasn't asked.
Sorry. All right. Claire, I'd like to restate your clarifying question.
I'm concerned. My concern, so you guys understand my question. I'm concerned, as well as others are concerned, that this proposal has no language in it to deal with these future problems for other people or for Chris. And the issue here is that we keep being redirected to an affinity group. And I don't know who those people are that are planning it, what credentials they have, and if they've had any meetings yet.
I'm sorry. Could you just get to the
Those
question?
are three direct questions.
I understand the question. Could I take it back?
Sorry.
I gave three very direct questions.
I'm sorry. Please. So there's two people on your
Three that I
group
can ask.
points of information. It'll go to you first as the presenter.
If everyone else that is blocking part of this agrees, I can amend my proposal to include the creation of an affinity group to deal with this specific issue. if that satisfies your concern.
You don't need a proposal.
But, I mean, it doesn't need to be proposed. So.
This it looks to me like one person would like to respond to that as well. Any objections to hearing those two other points? Just wanted to check because I saw some of these, and I think because it seems like it's turning into a side conversation that would be saved for another time, discussion, static, civil limits. Any objections to hearing these 2 points of information? All right, thank you.
I apologize, I've been talking a lot, but to answer your question, no, there is no language to codify a means of keeping people who we have voted to expel out. In fact, and this is opinion, cut me off if you have to, I feel as though it would be a conflict of interest if we then proposed a means of doing this. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay.
I've been cut off.
My question was not that.
Claire, as a point of process, what is your point of process, please?
Has this affinity group met once, and is it anyone but Alan?
That's not the point of process, that's your question.
Right, now I have to restate it because she was.
Because I misunderstood, I
Okay,
apologize.
all right.
Maybe Alan can.
Could you please restate that? Alan's behind you.
Has it met, and is there anybody in it with you?
The evening when that was affirmed, it wasn't made known in that meeting. I had made announcements afterwards. I am the only one, I've had conversations with people, I'm the only one who has been willing or able or ready or whatever to move this process forward. I have put it, I'll call to Jeff Weiner from Wayside Center for De-Escalation. I've talked with Adria Sharp. I have people sending me online links for skills and strategies, etc. I, as point person for it, have set my own personal goal within 30 days to have as much of what can be identified as needs brought forward through threshing processes back for a formal proposal on as much of a chunk as we can identify. So I would say to everyone in the room, the answer is, to the extent that you have ideas or concerns, you're all part of this affinity group. To the extent that you don't share that, you're not part of it. So that's the answer.
Claire, did that answer the question?
Yes, I now understand that Alan has been the only one, and there has not been a meeting.
Okay.
Those are my 2 questions.
All right. Thank you. There saw some more hands for clarifying questions. Were there other clarifying questions?
Okay, I just was going to ask for a restatement of what the issue is, so I can understand. I got lost. I'm sorry, wasn't sure what you were talking about. You're talking about vetting people in advance of coming in,
All
or
right. So is this a clarifying question to the previous clarifying question?
I'm probably speaking in a confused manner because I was confused about what you all were talking about.
Restate it.
Well, hand signal stuff. I'm sorry, but the clarifying question should be to the proposal, not to the other clarifying questions. And if you miss a clarifying question, it's best to turn to your neighbor and ask for what that was about. So I'm going to move on. Josh has a clarifying question, and then Graham.
So is this indefinite expulsion, or is it like a 3-month, 6-month hiatus sort of a deal, or is this you can never come back?
All right, it would go to Will.
This is indefinite. If somebody wants to bring a proposal to alter this proposal at a later date, bring it back, whatever, that's not up to me. This is now to the end of time.
Okay. Graham had a clarifying question.
I would like to ask the GA. I have a letter written by 5 individuals who can't be here tonight. I feel it's really important that I read it, having heard the blocks things here and pass it off. And I want to ask the GA if we can move to stacks if that's possible.
I see a couple point of processes, I think because that was not clarifying anything in the proposal, but a motion to move. Yeah, during stack, it seems like that would be the proper time to bring those concerns up. However, it's looking to me like clarifying questions are winding down, so I'd like to call, see if there are any final clarifying questions. All right. I would like to say now that we normally temp check here. It's my understanding, however, that there are dissenting voices ready to speak to this issue, and I'd like to see if there are objections to skipping temp check and moving to stack. Is that an objection?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Agreed.
Are there any objections to skipping the temp check and moving to stack? Okay. So we're going to take stack. We're going to open up a stack of 5. Is that what it is? We're going to ask each speaker to keep themselves to 3 minutes. And I'd like to remind everyone that although in stack we have heard from both dissenting and supporting voices, we come to consensus-based decision-making process, I believe, with the intent to hear dissenting voices before the supporting. So please, if you'd like to be in stack, with that in mind, please raise your hand very high and keep it up.
Dee, did you have
Until
any
your
hand
name's called.
Thank you.
So we have all.
Dee, Jason, Corinne, Danielle.
Yes.
Okay.
Did? Yes, you go first. May I do it from here? Yes, sir. My question, I think through the process we lose the humanity of what we're talking about. For me it's very clear. It's a question of safety. And when we start to override our humanity with a process, we become a victim of it. I'm disturbed by all this intellectual masturbation that I see going on. We're so educated, we're dumb. It's clear that people feel threatened. And it's clear that we say collectively that we provide a safe space. If folk are not, what is the cutoff point? Is the cutoff point the threat of violence or the actual putting hands upon a person? Where do we draw the line? If a person feels like they're threatened, we all see the intimidation. It's not like it's a question of whether it's real or not real. It's very real. Now, if the person responds to the fact that they feel like they're being threatened, is that the problem? I heard the last year, which I would plan on never coming back, I knocked the dust off my heel because I was so disenchanted with the process. I heard a person say, well, it's not the process. It's not the individual, it's the process. But that's the same as saying it's not the spider but the web. It's the same thing, family. When one of you are threatened, all of us are threatened. That's the thing. We can't lose sight of our humanity with this concept of process. All these game symbols that we throw up to get around what the real issue is. The issue is violence. The issue is intimidation. The issue is threats. The issue is usurping power. I am so important that my words have more weight than anybody else, and I'm going to jam this thing up, whether you like it or not, and we have others sitting on the sideline making excuses why one person can do this. Look, I'm from the street. All that stuff that ain't real to me. When you say you're going to do something, I'm going to stop you before that process happens. Real talk. Let's be clear. If you say it, you mean it. That's all I was to say.
who's up next to speak?
So I have a letter that written by 5 people, but I think there's probably more than just the 5 of us who feel this way. I'd like to ask, because it was suggested by consultation, because this was written by 5 people and is concise and written out, that I have perhaps more than 3 minutes, if it takes more than 3 minutes to read the whole letter.
Why aren't they here if it's so important to them?
Please.
I think it's partially here.
Yeah. Are there objections to extending time past 3 minutes? Is that an objection? It is. All right. We don't have a very fixed rule or guideline and process for extending time. However, the way I've seen it and understood it to be is that when a speaker reaches their time, that someone in the body may call for a motion for more time, and if there's a second or third, then that time will be extended to 3 more minutes.
Okay. So I want to preface this by saying that I was probably not going to stay tonight if it went this long before I had the chance to read and was going to hand it off to somebody else. But I've actually been really moved by everybody speaking and all the blocks, and so I felt like I really wanted to be able to read this and clarify some things. And I think there's some things in this letter that don't represent reality, but I think there's a lot of things in this letter that do represent reality. And so I just want to know that whereas this is a dissenting view towards what's happening, this particular process, we have the utmost respect for everybody who's taking this process. I hope that's really clear. Dear beloved members of our General Assembly, several of us have either chosen not to attend GA today or are unable to join. We have the utmost respect for you. Please do not take our absence to mean anything else. We write this letter to express deep concerns for the long-term health of this movement, the consensus process, and everything we have worked so hard to create. We feel particular concern regarding the mass block that is taking place today, as it seems a clear breach of the goals we have ascribed to from the beginning, which include to be inclusive, fair, and just. We've often said that we seek to create a new model for self-governance, where the opinions of the few cannot guide the body, but where the body guides itself. We are concerned by the evolution of the use of blocks in our GA in general. As we understand it, a block must be used with entirely apolitical intent. And one of the things that's been really clear to me today is that this is not a political thing. This is coming deeply from the hearts of everybody who's here. A block, and I think that becomes clear later on too. A block should represent overwhelming concern with the ethical direction of the GA. Too often, we have seen blocks that effectively redirect conversation, as they should, but are not founded on an unbending ethical principle that if disregarded, results in a person's leaving the movement for real. A block so unbacked turns from being an ethical guidepost for our movement to something more akin to collective blackmail. Again, that's not necessarily speaking to this block, but we believe we've seen that happen here. Another concern that these blocks highlights is the quickness with which people are willing to leave this movement. No one said that revolution would be easy or quickly attained. Our dear friend D often refers to our collective struggle being what binds us. We believe this sentiment with all our hearts. We wish that our first response to struggle and crises would be, first, what can I do to take care of myself so that I can return to the group stronger and better equipped to participate in our collective struggle? And second, what can I do to build the systems that will ensure the long-term success of our participatory direct democracy? We bring these concerns to light not to call foul on those blocking today. Sounds like that's the...
Second.
Okay, I have 3 more minutes.
We bring these concerns to light not to call foul to those blocking today. We know their concerns are real, valid, and should be acknowledged. We do not assume that their blocks lack ethical bases. But we do want to raise the question, what is the block's intent? To refocus Orva's priorities back to the fundamental truths and principles we aspire to, or to find the quickest and easiest solution to a long-standing problem?
One of these principles is respect. We must demand respect, and we understand that is much the basis of this block. We agree, and we would like to offer that we can demand respect, but at the same time also hold firm to other principles we believe in, such as fairness, the idea that all voices are welcome, and that justice is possible in the collective decision-making process. We believe that when a group of people says, you choose, us or them, now, this inhibits the collective's ability to create solutions together through a multitude of voices by limiting the field of options to two. Isn't it like a two-party political system where you only get to choose between bad and worse? To be clear, we are not suggesting that the GA give up its power to protect itself from disruptive members. Rather, we simply request that the GA choose the route to this end that best serves the foundations and long-term aspirations of this participatory direct democracy. Essentially, we are trying to create an internal accountability and justice system based on democratic principles. Let us implement a process for handling these situations and hold firm to it. Let us hold ourselves accountable so that we may hold others accountable. Let us create tools for dealing with disruption on the spot, and then let us hold a fair standard that we can apply to all disruptive parties. Without a doubt, we must come together to create a safe space for all those who are left, and for all those who have left, and all those who remain. Rather than act, as we often do, quickly in anger and frustration to solve the current crisis, let us build a system of strength that will ensure we together hold the tools to guide, direct, and protect this assembly through every crisis that comes, and they will come. We suggest we accomplish this by creating and consenting on a proposal and a system that is developed through our normal decision-making process. This process has already begun. Let us simply commit to finding consensus as soon as possible. We strongly feel that the choices the General Assembly makes tonight will lay out its path for some time to come, and perhaps indefinitely. We urge the GA to choose carefully and cautiously. That said, our concerns voiced, we submit our full support to our GA, including those who blocked today. We give gratitude. I've got two sentences.
Second.
We give gratitude to the facilitation team for your dedication, and we wish to be clear that we are not going anywhere. We are here for the long haul, whatever you choose. Our faith in our assembly is overflowing. We trust that any choices guided by the collective will of the people are for the common good of the people, and as a people united, we can never be divided. We love you, Layla, Reed, Jordan, Sir, and Andrew.
Thank you, Greg. I'm sorry, one moment. Okay. I believe there's more in stack.
There's one more wanting to be on stack. Is that
I do.
one more wanting to be on stack?
We can always come in the stack.
All right,
Yeah.
so motion to extend stack.
We have a stack in place, trying to figure out who was in stack. Yeah.
And Jason.
So we're going to hear from Danielle and then Jason. All right. Danielle, please.
All right. I just want to say that every person who stood up and blocked tonight, I love you all and I support you all. And when they call for a vote, I'm going to vote with you in favor of you as people and not in opposition to Chris. I felt it was important for me to make that clear because I don't want to stand in opposition to a single person. I'm not comfortable with that, but I am very comfortable saying that I love you all so much and you're all such valuable assets to us that we need you here. And since y'all were brave enough to say I feel intimidated and threatened, I will stand with you because that's what's important, is that y'all feel safe and secure, and that's why I'm going to vote with y'all. I also wanted to say, there's a saying in the legal community that a right without a remedy is valueless. I think y'all did yourselves a disservice by by not creating a proposal that actually does anything to make Chris leave if he comes here. I think that y'all did a disservice, because right now you are just asking us to give you a right and give you no way to actually value that right. And I'm a little disappointed that y'all didn't create some sort of a process. I know that's difficult, but that's where most of the criticism is coming tonight, is that there's no process included in y'all's proposal that would actually deal with what's going to happen, which is Chris is going to come back at the next GA. I don't know if y'all don't realize that he's going to be at the next GA. He was at the last GA. He was at this GA. He's going to be there. And when that time comes, what are y'all going to do about it? And I think that because y'all didn't include that in your proposal, there are a lot of people who are on the fence like me, because I don't think y'all are really doing anything. Y'all are just asking us to support you, and I'm fine supporting you. I just don't know to what end that's going to end up being.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I wanted to say that. I don't know how metaphysical some of y'all are, but I asked my coffee grounds today, what is the future of Occupy Richmond? And it was really weird. It was like the United States, but then you could see like the bottom portion like sinking away, and then there was a big explosion thing on it. And then I looked at my cup, and it was like an explosion in the skull and some dirt. So I didn't really like that. I think that. So anyway, I think that we can't start a war without having a process for taking care of the war. Look at the South, Antebellum South. You know, we're the poor part of the country. You know, so I don't want to be the poor part of the movement because of the thing. Figure out your plan for dealing with it first, and then bring it. This basically to me was just we're all pissed at Chris. I get it. We all get that now. I say come up with your plan and then vote on it then, because we're already taking up too much time with it.
Okay. So that stack has been closed, and we're going to reopen stack. That was everyone who was in stack, I believe. Let me check with Billy and Chris.
That was it for that side. Sure.
Is that 5 people?
Yes, 4 people opened it and closed it.
Yeah, 4 people raised their hands for that stack.
Well, we noticed that Tiffany and Rain wanted to be added to stack.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Stack was closed. Now we have an opportunity to reopen it. Yeah, we're gonna reopen stack if there's no objections to that. All right. And just keep your hands up high, please. There's a lot of hands.
All right. Vaughn, Megan, David, Ron. If I called your name, please put your hand down. Okay, so what's left is Alan, Teddy, Josh, Jonathan. I'm sorry, I don't know. Sarah. And Sarah, she's out. Tiffany. All right, hold on. There was a lot just now, so hold on.
I have the first one. Not that I need to go first, but it's like your business.
For the future, if you put your hand up while stack is taking place, if stack is taking place, that stack of people has already been closed and stack is not open for you to get on stack. But as we allow to hear all voices, you can see we've reopened stack. I think that's what just happened. And they're discussing how to order that stack since it was rather large. And we normally take stacks of 5. Please, they're gonna.
No, actually, I'd like to say that. I think this is getting to the point of being ludicrous. We have people leaving already because they would just like to vote. I think we know where most of us stand already, and we are just intellectualizing this to death.
All right, Bobby, please, and thank you for your concern. There's another May Day.
It's entirely unfair for us to not be able to say what we speak when we've been seeing and hearing what's going on for this entire week.
For this entire evening, for like the last 4
Bobby,
hours.
please.
Right, but for those that came here today, we came prepared for us to be able to have a chance to speak. And that is entirely unfair.
It's entirely unfair to not care about people's lives.
Please.
And we're getting
So, bye.
Another vote gone.
All right, there's a couple points of process there. Santos, did you need to?
I was going to point out, I don't think meetings are supposed to be set up loud necessarily. Are they? Whether
All right.
Appreciate both of those concerns. But.
Maydays are to be brought to the temp check decision first, though. Considering the nature of the Mayday and the sentiment behind somebody who would raise Mayday, it's very close to a block. It's a very serious concern, and that's why that just happened, and those people were allowed to speak. That has definitely happened before in GA, where Mayday has just gone ahead and taken the floor, and if it's a rule that that's not to happen, it hasn't been enforced, and I know we're all paying very close attention to the process tonight. With that said, stack seems like they probably talked about the stack that just opened up.
Sarah?
I have questions. There were how many people who raised their hand to be in staff? 9 people raised their hands to be in staff.
Yeah, I can take mine off. It's not a completely new sentiment.
Okay. Thank you. So we have 7 people in this stack. Are there any objections from the body to have a stack of 7? No objections. So we're going to have a stack of 7 speakers. We'll have 3 minutes. I know stacks are normally 5, but we're definitely here to hear all voices, and I don't know how to do it a better way. There's a Mayday. Would you like to talk to the temp check?
Can we get a temp check? We've been talking about this for 2.5 hours without a temp check at all.
Hour and a half.
Okay.
Feelings, man. Perceptions.
There's a motion to hear the temp check. I'm sorry, I did ask earlier, and there were no objections to skipping the temp check in order to hear dissenting voices. Please. There was a motion to get a temp check. Are there any objections to that now? All right. So, all in favor of the proposal as it stands, would you please put your twinklers in the air? All right, please keep them up. Yeah, we're not voting, we're taking a
Process.
There's a point of process.
Could you read it again, please? I think it's gotten faint on mine.
All right. That seems very reasonable since it's been a while since. Would you please reread the proposal?
Yeah, let me log in. Let's see. We stand before you today in a collective block asking for the immediate expulsion of Chris Dorsey from all Occupy Richmond General Assemblies, meetings, events held on private property, and future occupations.
There's another clarifying question, and then we're going back to that temp check because it's been interrupted.
Does that mean that it's all right for him to attend public events on public property, or is that event?
Yeah, we're trying to go into temp check.
Right.
We're moving backwards right now, and I see some concern in the room about that. I personally don't understand how to proceed with this, except to go to the temp check. I'm sorry, Sylvan. So, did we? Oh, I'm sorry. We're moving to the temp check, and then we're moving past the temp check. All those in favor, please replace your twinkling fingers in the air. Okay, right. All those on the fence, stand aside, abstains. Twinkles in the middle. And all those opposed, twinkles down. Okay. I'd like to just call for 30 seconds to speak with the facilitation team, if that's all right. Hey, call it order, please.
1 second.
This is 30 seconds for the
As temp check, while they're speaking, I'm going to step outside this process right now and call for everyone to just take a nice deep breath. I understand that it's been a very stressful meeting so far. It's been a very long meeting so far, and I understand people have left because they are concerned with the lengthiness of this proposal. And I just want to ensure that we are moving on with the process. Thank you all for respecting the process. And yeah, so let's take a moment, starting now. And also, take and maybe we should sing a song. Ooh, let's sing a song. Okay. As Alan sang earlier, we sing Solidarity Forever, and not Solidarity. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come too far, we can turn round. We'll flood the streets with justice, we are freedom bound. We have come
justice, be of freedom.
Yeah.
All right, great. We're ready to come back to order. Thank you, Nicole.
Mic check.
Mic check.
All right, we're coming back together. So please tune in. Still see a lot of side conversation. All right. Thank you. So what we just saw was a temp check without any opposing or dissenting voices. Normally, at a temp check with no dissenting voices, we would move to a vote. However, we also had a stack of people waiting to speak. Some of those people have already spoken tonight in regards to this proposal. Others we haven't heard from at all tonight. So what we would like to do and ask you to make or confirm what we've just discussed, we would like to motion to hear from these unheard voices, and then we will motion to move to a vote after hearing these unheard voices. And part of that is asking the people from the previous stack if they don't mind stepping down to do this. So
first motion to hear from the unheard voices. Is there any opposition to that?
Okay. Go ahead and I'm going to tag out with Greg right now.
Vaughn?
I was wondering if there was any way to piggyback on top of your your motion, the possibility of an assigned group or a couple individuals who are trained in conflict resolution who gently and kindly remove him as soon as he shows up at every event.
Oh, the other one.
You mean this one? No, sorry. I'm sorry I missed a lot of the meeting, and excuse me if I deal with things that have already been discussed before, but I haven't heard this brought up. I think it's really important. It's really annoying that this body of caring people is tied in knots over stuff that really you might almost consider to be, when we go from 2 years old to 3 years old, we stop building conflicts around our own personal interests and we move forward with a group program. I'm sorry, but when I saw the traffic between Will and Chris, and Will said, sit the fuck down or something like that, I thought that was very poor. And I think that kind of crap, this inner nicing, is that the word? This fighting within ourselves, we can't have that. We can't live with that. And if I'm the only one bringing it up, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm the only one who heard it. Maybe so. Will might correct me, that's what I heard. I think that kind of crap is going to cost our lives. There's a world out there that needs us. We don't need to spend our time doing this poop. You know, this is not productive time. I'm sorry. I'm not invalidating any of your great, meaningful, thought out stuff. But this is just not important stuff. There are things to be done. We need to occupy things, not deal with personality conflicts. If Chris shows up, and wants to make a ruckus, we can all turn to him and say, I'm sorry, Chris, you're looking for a different group if you want to go burn down buildings, If you want to shut up and be a part of the process, great. I don't want to make this about Chris. It's not about Chris. It's about us getting our act together and being able to say, collectively, hey, we don't put up with it. Leave, we'll get it together. I don't perceive an elected proposal. I don't think it's well worded. And I don't think it really gets to where we want to go. We want to say it's safe to be different. You can stand up, make an answer yourself, or be eloquent. It's okay. We're about that. We're about letting people speak. And I don't think we've really quite achieved it. We have incredible voices, incredible facilitators, but we haven't quite, for some reason, got that voice yet. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, facilitation is making a motion. In a way, we are asking those who are in stack if they are willing to cede their position in stack and move to a vote. Is there anyone? There are 2 against, 3 against. So process.
It sounded like Vaughn had a friendly amendment. Have we passed that part of the process yet?
That would be after stack.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess you would need
Yeah. I would just say that the last couple weeks here at GA, it seems that civil amendments have been coming to formal proposals at different times in the formal proposal process, whether it be during clarifying questions or stack. So I'm sorry, because I don't know how to proceed with this.
Vivek just corrected me. It comes after stack.
Yeah, it has come after stack, and we can ask for a vote from the body, as we've suggested to motion to move to a vote on the proposal. Before we do that, we can consider asking for a vote to hear civil amendments, although that's up to the proposer to whether or not they even want to accept civil amendments.
So it looks like the process right now would be the motion is actually not to go directly into a vote, but to end the discussion process, and then if those who propose the proposal are willing to hear civil amendments, and then move into a vote with any civil amendments that they accept. All for that?
So you are you saying people who were on stack don't get to speak?
No, that's why I'm saying, like, we're not saying that. We're trying to find out how the body wants to go.
Yeah, there's a point of process.
Why are we taking a vote on whether or not we're going to go through the process we have established?
Because
Jeremy has a point of information on that, since he was in the meeting.
The facilitators have already explained that we see this as a different kind of GA than normal, and we've taken liberties, with your permission, with the process in order to bring about the best discussion. We had a temp check with no opposition. Typically, in order to facilitate the best decision, we would move to a vote.
Okay, I'm just asking why we would take a vote on civil amendments or not. That's just what we do.
The vote is not on civil amendments.
It's about
on moving to civil amendments and closing stack.
Our intention would be to ask the body if they would like to.
So are we okay, specifically to those who were in stack, are we okay with moving past stack, or do you have something that you especially feel, okay, there's, anyone opposed? Okay, then we will continue with the stack as it is.
Yeah, if you'd like to restate the stack.
Tiffany?
Just go through the entire
Tiffany,
stack.
Brain, David, John, and Josh.
To address the concern as to, again, you made a really good point, Danielle, about the right without the remedy. Okay, and again, I think that was something that this group really thought about. And I'm going to quote the great Graham, wherever the heck he is. I learned something really, really smart from him in one of the very first GAs I went to at Kanawha, which was we got really bogged down in making decisions about each little part of everything. And he said, if we could just try to decide on this one thing, do we all agree that we don't want this, or do we do want this? Then we can move on. And I think that's what this group of people are saying, is can we agree that we will not be held hostage by Chris Dorsey anymore? Yes, it would be really wonderful if we had a way of doing it. However, I think we'd be here until tomorrow approving that, if that were attached to it, because somebody's going to have a problem with the way that's handled. I really love Vaughn's amendment My only question is do we have people trained in that, or are they willing to do it? So I say the amendment sounds great, let's do it, but we need people to do it. But again, I'm saying we are asking for this group to put our foot down. I know we don't have the method yet, but put our foot down, and when the man walks in next week, we turn our backs. We say, you're not welcome. Our facilitation team says, you are not welcome because that's what this GA agreed on. If he stays, we'll come up with something. But I'm saying we need to put our foot down.
Thank you.
If you've never been on the receiving end of Chris Dorsey's abuse, you're lucky. I say that with every fiber in my being. He has had me in tears. He scared people. He scared me. I don't like the idea of excluding anyone. It goes against what I think, what we're trying to create here, to have a place for everyone. But to allow him to take over our valuable, precious time and have anyone frightened or threatened, we really, as Tiffany said, we've got to put our foot down. You know, if it's stopping GA when he walks in the door, maybe that's it. You know, we don't have the process. Let's say, I'm sorry, Chris, you're not welcome here anymore. You've sucked the life out of us. You know, you got to keep toxic people away from yourselves. It takes life energy out of us. And I'm really serious about it. And if anyone has any questions of the veracity of what I'm saying, talk to me.
David?
Well, I have to apologize. I know I've spoken a lot tonight, but I have a lot of strong feelings. One of them is, it feels like a notion of an ultimatum. I don't think that's what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is say we just can't be involved anymore. We don't see why, everybody else in the group goes along with the process. So why can't this person? If we have one person not going along with the process, then we have to do something. We have to expel them from the group if they continue that pattern of behavior, which he has done. The other thing I want to say is, I try to show him compassion, and I believe in compassion and forgiveness, and tolerance, and all that, and I try to exemplify that. But some people don't want that. And some people show by their actions that that's not what they want. They don't want tolerance. They don't want compassion. They want to be the front of the world. We can't do that. As has been said, he's already taken up too much time. And I don't want it to be a divider of the group, because I want to be in solidarity with everyone. I just personally can't work anymore having someone take over the whole thing. I think we've got better things to do. I think we've done really good tonight. And I think that, we have a lot more to do. But this is one obstacle we have to deal with along the way, unfortunately. And if this will help us in anything, I think it's going to help us to come up with that process that we have got to come up with in dealing with this situation, and this kind of agent provocateur that doesn't want the compassion, that doesn't want to be part of the group, but wants to be the main focus of the group. So I don't want you to feel like we're giving an ultimatum. It's not quite that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Jonathan? Jonathan or John? Jonathan. Ooh.
Jonathan. I think it was Jonathan. I don't know.
If I don't what? If I have a...
I don't think you had your hand raised for that, did you?
Did you have your hand raised for that?
I don't even know what that process is.
I'm so sorry.
I probably would if I'd known.
Yeah. I'll talk to you
After?
So I'm sorry. I want to avoid this side conversation. There's a point of process. There's two of them. I'd just like to say that people who aren't familiar with the process are definitely unheard voices. If he is speaking, wishes to speak to this proposal with an opinion, I would motion to move him to the end of stack, and I see a lot of support for that idea. All right.
Thank you.
We'll figure that out. Thanks.
Okay. I have a few things. First of all, I would like to say that in the case of people like myself who are not very comfortable speaking in groups, having someone like Chris around basically inhibits our free speech. Like, if you have someone who is angry and screaming and yelling, you feel intimidated and you do not want to talk, his exercising of his quote-unquote free speech is inhibiting mine, and that is not okay. Second, I was part of the group of people that helped put this proposal together, and we bare-bonesed it because we feel that there is a conflict of interest between us putting a proposal forward to deal with a situation that we are personally involved in. We clearly have very strong feelings on this issue. We want it taken care of. We want you all, we want the General Assembly to help us do that, but we do not want to bring it to you forward saying, pass this thing and we're all leaving. We don't want to hold everybody hostage. We wanted you to come up with this process, and that's basically it. We want him gone. We trust all of you to do it properly.
Josh? Patrick?
Outside. Yeah.
John?
Thank you. This may be a little unorthodox. I don't know if anyone has done this. I would be very interested in knowing, and maybe you do this at set times, and if you do, a stop on this particular point, but knowing something of a bio of the people, both by names. Do you keep a roster? Do you do anything like that? So it's possible for people like me and others to have some idea, of where they might go or who they might talk to. I know you have working groups. Okay, just food for thought. Let me give you my bio a little bit, why I'm here. First off, I've been waiting for something like this for years. Years. Okay? I am a 60s and 70s activist who has screamed at my daughter's generation, where is the social conscience? Is there anybody on the college campuses talking about social issues anymore? I could go on 5 or 10 minutes on that. I won't. But, so seeing this, it was really a nostalgic feeling. I got excited. I am excited. My fire is burning because I see the potential for this, but it's real important to be successful. But I see the potential of this, if done right, could actually become that third party, if not in a formal sense, be significant enough politically to accomplish what many people have only given lip service or a little bit to in the past. I have also gone through some of what many people who are in the middle class, well, not in the middle class. I don't know if I said, I'm son of an Army brat. I'm third generation military. I was in Vietnam, back from Vietnam before I went to college. Associated with some of those experiences that one does not like, afterwards. But nevertheless overcame them. I had a great family life. Went through corporation, had a good corporate job, lost it in a downsizing. Next company I was with, downsized again. Next company I went with was a startup that I'd done a lot of research on, but it turned out was undercapitalized. Out again. I've lost a house. Then I ended up losing a home that I rented. Eventually, it was on the street. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes time.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Continue.
All right, thank you. So I know the homeless bit. I've went all the way from working for a corporate top 10 corporation all the way to nothing. I kid my friends and I say, well, I just happen to be working on my third million. Not really. I just happened to lose my first two. I'm very optimistic about the future, and groups like this are helping good to do it. I would like, however, to get some idea before leaving, and also sit down. I'd like to just ask for a real quick hand poll to get an idea of the group. Is that possible? Could I do that? On a couple of subjects?
I'll ask the group after you finish speaking, I'll ask the group if they'd like to have that straw poll.
Okay, I'm finished speaking.
Okay. There's a point of process.
With all due respect, we are in the middle of a proposal at the moment that is dealing with one subject, and I think it would be most appropriate if we do that after the proposal from the subject.
Yeah, there's I'm sorry, please. Here's side conversation. I also saw another point of process that gets addressed. There's no point of process. Okay. The motion was. Sorry. Okay. I believe that the motion from the speaker was to allow him to ask the body a straw poll question before he leaves tonight. Wondering if anyone has objections to waiting till after this process after the stack to do that. There's objection to that. All right. Would ask, are there any objections to hearing that straw poll now with the goal of getting back to stack after the straw poll? There is objection to that. Yeah. Please. There's
stronger.
There's stronger or equal dissent to both those ideas. Because it's stepping out of process, I'm going to ask that we continue. Because to open up the floor would be out of our process, sir.
Sure, if you want it afterwards,
okay.
that's fine.
Thank you. Please.
As long as I get a chance to ask it, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next person in stack.
Teddy?
When I joined this movement, I came in with Chris. He said, I'll show you the ropes, I'll show you some of the people, and as I walked with Chris through the plaza, things were happening to him as I was walking with him. There were individuals on the unicycle following him around, and then there were individuals with the cameras all up in his face following us around. I'm like, can't you report this? Don't you have some kind of sergeant at arms or something here? He's reported a lot of things to a lot of people, and he's asked for a lot of help. But to my amazement, he was still blocked on Facebook. People were threatening his life. People lied on him, said that he had stole things. It's my 3 minutes. You don't want to hear it, but you need to be out too. Please. I want to say this. Please. This is my 3 minutes. You can run your fingers through her hair. But these my minutes. I want to say this. As long as there's a higher power that controls us, any of you all have been dishonest. When that man went to you all for honest help and you all turned your backs, when that man went to you or called you on the phone, some of you all been in jail, you use his letters and his information to get out of jail. Some of you all did. and he never tried to steal the name Occupy Richmond. He simply said that we were the founders. We were the first ones down there. We set up the trash cans. We set up everything down there for you guys. So I'm saying this to you. When you lie down at night, I hope that a good spirit takes over, because none of us are perfect. Actually, I feel like I just saw a white boy get hung up by the ear. I've seen many brothers get hung, but I've never seen a white boy get strung up like this one here. And I can't wait to get back to the hood and tell this one. I love you guys. Some of the things you have done have been wrong. I talk to you like an adult, and I talk to you like your mother. You either love me or you hate me. Ain't no in between, and I'm all woman. If I do something wrong, Teddy Perm can stand up and say, I screwed up. What can I do wrong? Let me make it right. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not Chris Dorsey. So I say this to you. My thing is this. Whoa, nothing. So my thing is this. I have 3 minutes.
Teddy, I'm sorry. You've been speaking for 2 minutes and 57 seconds. I have 2 maydays right here in front of you.
Because I'm being honest, because of what she said.
You're not being fully respectful.
Well, what is she doing?
I believe that's why the maydays are taking place. Is because
Are they being
people feel
honest?
disrespected.
I can speak.
Yeah.
I have a mayday. I can
It's
speak.
Tim Check.
No one's
I
calling
do
me.
have to allow the
Tim
rest
checks
to
if she
speak.
comes.
Okay.
I said I want to speak.
Oh, you want the truth?
Order. Yeah, please. Everyone. Please.
Let's tell it. You want the truth?
Right now, as Tim Check, I'm interjecting. We have 2 maydays that wish to address themselves.
They don't
right
want the
now.
truth told.
Well, no, we can continue. We're going to return straight back to what you were saying right after this. But as mayday, I do have to pause time for 1 second.
All right.
And then address what is being said.
All right.
All right.
The truth is in life.
So you wanted to address what's being said right now. All
I
right.
want to address several things. Teddy, I think it's wrong to do that.
Everyone's talking.
Excuse me.
What? Tell the truth.
I'm about to speak to you if you listen.
Teddy, please.
I think it's wrong to make accusations, but for you guys to point and process someone during free speech who just left, everyone keeps leaving, and it's not appropriate during this conversation. We're doing this faster than we ever do. We do bullshit work all the time.
Yes,
We're
you
doing
do.
this faster. And I'm really frustrated right now that all these people are leaving, including people that we're blocking right now. Mine went from up to this. It might go down. I'm warning the group that it could very well go down, and I might downvote this proposal, especially if the proposers don't stay in the room for those that are speaking to you. And for you to point and process someone that is accusing someone else, she's allowed to accuse if you're standing here and accusing someone else of stuff.
That's right.
She's allowed to accuse.
That's right.
And it makes me want to walk out the door.
We can everybody.
We have one more mayday that wants to address. Or did you already speak to what you were saying?
I would just hope that because of how we demonize people who may or may not use drugs, that we're very understanding of how putting that on the internet may be to people's reputation. And that's not to you because you have free speech, but that's to the process that revolves around our GA and the fact that this is going to go on the internet, and now this is going to be public information for people, and maybe we want to think about that at some other time, but that's why I was mayday, because that's screwed up. You have the right to say what you want to say, but that's just screwed up that somebody's dirt, maybe or not, I don't know, may get on the internet in that fashion, and I have a problem with that.
But that's the truth. You want to block that?
Please.
All right,
No, not blocking you.
All right, now that these maydays have been addressed, now the floor is going to return back to you so you can finish. Do you know what time did you finish?
3
Or was it?
Yeah, you had about 5 minutes.
So how many interruptions did I have before I got to the 3 minutes?
You had 5 seconds.
You say
To the end.
30 seconds. Are there any objections? Allowing Teddy 30 seconds to speak. There is an objection. However, her time was not finished, and she was interrupted
Several times.
So, Okay.
Sorry, I motion to extend her time because I think
Seconded.
everybody should be able to speak.
Third.
All right. Thank you. Teddy?
I say this because I'm a substance abuse counselor and have helped multiple people, plenty people get off of drugs. That's what I do.
Mike, check! Right now, I'm going to ask everyone to stop talking. I know that this is a very important conversation. And things are heated. We do not interrupt each other while we're talking. Yes, and I'm not singling out anyone. It just happened about 5 to 10 different times. We need to have this conversation in a fair and respectful way.
That's right.
Please. A lot of people just stormed out because of the tensions raising. While
It's all about
Teddy,
Chris.
please. While the Tim check is outside trying to get those people back in here and convince them that we can have this respectful and calm conversation, I'm going to ask everybody to please sit, close their eyes, and take a deep breath. All right, I'm going to do that too.
I'm sorry. They tell on everybody else. They don't tell the truth. And then when you say something truthful about them, they get upset. If you can give it, take it.
Thank you for the... I'd like to take 30 seconds for us to talk about how to proceed. Is everyone okay with that? Is anyone against that?
I'm afraid we're going to lose people.
Yeah. Please. Yeah, the point of facilitation consulting with facilitation is not for people to leave. It's for us to figure out how to respond.
This is a very tense situation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're not doing the best we can right now, but we are human and we are trying to figure it out. Please abide with us for this. Okay.
Right. There's a question. I'd like to hear it.
Move for like a 5-minute break.
Dangerous.
There's a motion for a 5-minute break. However, I see some dissent to that.
Having a break, or are we just okay.
Facilitation needs to speak. I think, is that what's happening?
Yeah.
With facilitation, we need to consult because a third of our team is not here, and the speaker who was just speaking in stack just walked out as well. Both of our stackers are gone. So, for example, I don't know who's in stack right now. I don't know how we can proceed.
Okay, let's come back. Let's just come back.